Okay, so as we all know, Republic Day is celebrated on the 26th of January this every year, which is today. This day is celebrated with fervor and pride across India. On this day, the Constitution of India came into effect. It marks the day when India got truly independent and attained the historic Purna Swaraj. And for many youth in India, it is a day to take pride in the Constitution and to the rights that it confers and to feel patriotic as they watch the spectacle of the country's military might and cultural prowess on the Rajpath. It is surely a day every citizen should feel proud about. The day evokes patriotism in this, and there is no doubt. In this situation, many youth are interrogating the new concept of patriotism. Being youth in the Indian Republic, we not only show our might, but we also show our introspect on how truly a republic we are. We should remember the importance of this day and not take things for granted.
Correct.
This reminds us that there was a lot of effort in the formation of the nation, and therefore we should behave like responsible citizens. If one is truly patriotic, they will not hesitate to stand when our national anthem plays and salute when the tricolor is hoisted. It is how we express our gratitude for our nation and its peacekeepers on the borders. As a student, I feel we need to protect what Ambedkar had framed for us, to diagnose the ills of a caste in society, and most importantly, to spread education and look at the real meaning of being a republic nation. Thank you.
Ought to be in a republic like India because it has many diverse cultures and religions, and like people live together like as a one family with, and they show their love for each other. We have come through many fights, battles over so many years, like 1971 war,
Right.
1962 Indochina war,
Yes.
then one one another battle which has happened, then in the surgical strikes which we did, and the attacks which we have faced, the
Correct.
Balakot air strike which we did, then Pulwama attack, Uri attack in which many of our soldiers died, and then the way we retaliated was a very good thing.
What is Republic Day? Republic Day is a day to remember because it is when the Constitution of India officially came into force on January 26th, 1950. This historical act formally transitioned India to become an independent republic, and hence it is celebrated on January 26th every year. It's noted that India gained freedom from the British rule after a long struggle in the wee hours of August 15th, 1947. Jawaharlal Nehru delivered his famous speech, Tryst with Destiny, declaring India's independence to the citizens. But sadly, this freedom did not come along with democracy and the right to choose your own government. Since India didn't have an official constitution then, our country was a constitutional monarchy under the rule of King George VI, even after independence. It was finally 2.5 years later, on January 26, 1950, when the Indian Constitution came into effect, thus making India one of the biggest democracies in the world. It was on this day when India was declared as a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. And to honor this day, the Indian Republic is celebrated with great fervor throughout the day, throughout the country every year on January 26th. How is it celebrated? On Republic Day, flag hoisting ceremonies and parades by armed forces and school children are held in different parts of the country. The grandest and most important of these parades is held at Rajpath in New Delhi, which showcases a multi-hued image of the country's rich cultural heritage and military prowess. This parade is presided over by the President of India. One of the main functions of the Republic Day Parade is to pay tribute to the martyrs who have sacrificed their lives for the country and to confer bravery awards to military people, citizenry, and children for showing courage in the face of adversity. Children who have won the Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar ride pass the spectators on colorfully decorated elephants. These children are honored and awarded by the Indian Council for Child Welfare for performing outstanding deeds of bravery and selfless sacrifice. The Republic Day parade is concluded by daredevil motorcycle riding and a flypast by the Indian Air Force fighter jets over Rajpath, as spectators look on with their hearts filled with pride.
So this is a picture of the Republic Day parade from, I think, last year or 2 years back. So you can see all the events that take place.
Yeah, and the flags, yeah.
Yeah. India first lays a wreath at the Amar Jawan Jyoti.
Sorry to disturb you, but just if you could just read some of the main salient points over here instead of the entire paragraph.
Sure. After that, there is a 21-gun salute, unfurling of the national flag, and singing of the national anthem. Awards such as the Paramveer Chakra, Ashok Chakra, and Veer Chakra are presented to gallantry award winners. There are parades with winners of the gallantry awards that salute the president in military jeeps which are open. There are display of tanks, missiles, and other equipment added to the arsenal of the military. After this, there's a march past of different regiments of the armed forces, police, home guards, and National Cadet Corps. Then the President of the India, being the Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Armed Forces, takes the salute. This is followed by a vibrant parade comprising tableaux from different states and cultural dances by patriotic school children. The President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, and 3 service chiefs gather at Rajghat and lay wreaths on the Samadhi of Mahatma Gandhi, decorated with multi-color flowers. The inter-services contingent reverses arms as a mark of respect to the martyrs. A religious prayer ceremony is held and Gandhiji's favorite bhajans are sung. So that's what we have for the celebrations.
So this is the national anthem. And
Why is Republic Day celebrated? Counted among the 3 national holidays of the country together with the Independence Day, 15th August, and Gandhi Jayanti, 2nd October, Republic Day of India, 26th January, is a very popular national celebration. This event marks the proud founding of the Republic tradition of one of the largest democracies in the world. The significance of the day. Republic Day is meant to honor the date in which the country's Constituent Assembly adopted the Constitution specially framed for the nation. On 26th January 1950, the newly drafted Constitution of India came to be enforced by way of replacing the Government of India Act 1935. Since then, this day is celebrated as the Republic Day of India year on year as a national event with a public holiday declared in all states of the country. Purna Swaraj. On 26 January 1930, the Indian National Congress declared Purna Swaraj or complete independence of the country from foreign rule. This proclamation enjoined the members of the Congress as well as the band of Indian nationalists to fight for the independence of the country, and it was also decided that this day shall be celebrated as the Independence Day of the country. Later, when India got its independence on another day, 15th August, it was decided that the Constituent Assembly would enforce the Constitution on 26th January 1950, though it was adopted on 26th November 1949. The need for a constitution. India got its freedom from the British rule on 15th August 1947. The freedom of the country was brought about by the bloodless and peaceful resistance envisioned by the Congress under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, who championed the way of non-violent protest of a kind and scale that was unprecedented in the history. When India was declared as the constitutional monarchy on this day, the nation still did not have a permanent constitution. Therefore, on 28th August 1947, the drafting committee was established under the leadership of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Constitution is enforced. The drafting committee submitted a draft of the Constitution to the Assembly on 4th November 1947. Assembly organized a series of sessions to discuss the Constitution. The process that stretched over 166 days was spread over 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. All these sessions were open to the public. Copies of the Constitution. Following several deliberations and modifications, the Assembly, consisting of 308 members, prepared 2 handwritten copies of the Constitution, one in Hindi and the other in English, duly signed by all the members.
Wow.
After its signing on 24th January 1950, it was enforced throughout the nation 2 days later on 26th January 1950. Celebrations in the country. The main Republic Day event is organized year on this date in the capital of India, New Delhi. In a ceremony held in Rajpath, the President of India presides over the event and a colorful and ceremonious parade is organized in honor of the nation.
Definitely, the Indian government system and the Republic government system is frankly one of the last existing in the world aside from Britain that adopts this parliamentarian system. And it is frankly, this system is frankly a test of time because it has worked for aeons in Britain, and so therefore this was probably the most likely structure that we would have adopted. And so yeah, we have taken a lot from them, but then we have made the parliament our own as well to an extent. And so yeah, it is in the hopes that it will provide political stability to our nation, and frankly it has worked in a lot of cases as well.
Absolutely. And the interesting fact that I noted 308 people, and the first constitution was handwritten. Such a big book was handwritten in English and in Hindi. So that was a task. I'm sure today, if I tell you to write an answer for 5 minutes, you cannot. And they wrote the entire constitution handwritten. That is a very big achievement for a country and for its people that think about each and every citizen, and we get our rights. So Rachit, what we were talking about in the morning, Ria and all of us, these rights, today we have education, today we can move freely in the country. We are fearless, unlike other countries, where you cannot move, you cannot do things that you want to. You cannot start your own job or your employment. In some countries you cannot. So all these freedoms that we have is because of our constitution today, and we live a far very peaceful life compared to some countries, and we are really good.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Happy Republic Day, everyone. Today I'll be talking the list of amendments that should be added to the Constitution. Article 246A. The Parliament and state legislature should have power to make laws with respect to goods and service tax imposed by the Union or by such states, with the Parliament retaining exclusive power to make laws with regard to the supplies in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Article 269A. The GST for supplies in the course of interstate trade or commerce to be levied and collected by the Government of India and shared between the Union and states on the basis recommended by the GST Council. Further, the principles determining the place of supply and when a supply of goods or services or both take place in the course of interstate trade or commerce shall be formulated by the Parliament. Article 279A. President to constitute the GST Council within 60 days from date of commencement of the said constitutional amendment coming into force. The Council, while discharging its functions, shall be guided by the need for a harmonized structure of GST for development of a national market. Article 248. These are amendments for the existing articles. Residuary power of legislation provided to the Parliament has been made to the Article 246A. Both Parliament and state legislatures shall frame laws pertaining to GST. Article 249. In case a two-third majority resolution has been proposed by the Council of States for the national interest, Parliament shall have the power to make necessary laws with respect to GST. Article 270. Intersection of Article 269A as an exception to the taxes levied collected by Union and distribution between states. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Today I will be talking about what are the pros and the cons of having amendments to the Constitution. So firstly, let's start off by saying that today is Republic Day, which is the day our Constitution came into force. And in our Constitution, we have the right for the Parliament to amend any clause or rule of the Constitution. So there are many aspects to this. So firstly, having amendments helps us move with the times. So old-fashioned laws such as the LGBTQ community rights, etc., have been changed with and helped us move along with the times. Also, it helps us govern the country according to what the people want in this age and not by the previous standards. Also, it helps us. It helps the government specifically cater to many needs. So many of the clauses have been changed since then. And some cons are that firstly, a government can use the power of amendments and adding rules for their personal benefit. So for example, if we have a particular party having a majority in parliament, they can make rules to suit them and not uphold the rights of democracy. But of course, another pro is that the next government that comes in can change them. So that is one aspect. Secondly, having amendments, the people who are in the majority or have the power to amend the constitution have the power to do anything they want. So we had so many laws. For example, the CAB and NRC, which openly discriminated against one particular community, and which was passed in the parliament because that party had a single majority. So that's an overview of amendments. And the process to actually introduce an amendment is also not very long. All it takes is one person just has to propose the amendment and everyone has to vote on it. So it's not very long, and it's quite easy in that manner, which works both in a good and bad way. So that was an overview of amendments in the Constitution. I feel that amendments are necessary, even though they might have some implications that they have some harmful implications. Amendments are necessary because we need to keep moving with the times. And yeah, so that's it.
My topic for today is how can Constitution help common people who do not have the knowledge of law? The Constitution of India is the supreme law of India. It has the fundamental political principles, procedure, practices, rights and power, and also the duties of the government. The Constitution of India was taken on the 26th November in the year 1949, but the Constitution came in effect on the January 26th in the year 1950. The Constitution was adopted by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The Constitution of India provides the citizens with 6 fundamental rights. The rights are the right of freedom, right of equality, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies, right against exploitation, and right to privacy. Right to equality is important in a society. The purpose of this right is to create a rule of law where all the people should be treated equally. Article 1418 has 5 provisions, and it provides equality before law and protection for all the people in India. So few examples from the Article 1418: equality before law, no discrimination of basis of religion, race, sex, caste, and etc., equal opportunities to all the citizens, and more. Right to freedom. In Article 19, there are 6 freedom provided. So for few examples will be freedom of speech and expression, freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India, and more. Rights to education. In this law, it is stated that children from the age group of 16 to 14 years and their parents can claim compulsory and free education as a fundamental right. There is a right to constitutional remedies. This is for every individual who has the right to seek help from the courts for any reason. These rights help every individual, and it is important for us to know because it lays down all the valid and cultural aspects under which people and the government bodies are kept in places.
Good morning, everyone. Today I will be speaking about the Women and Constitution. 26 January 1950, the day that the newly independent India found its ideological ground through the conduit of the Indian Constitution, a document that even 71 years after its genesis holds great importance in the workings of the world's largest democracy. जुल्मी जब जब जुल्म करेगा सत्ता के गलियारों से, चप्पा चप्पा गूंज उठेगा इनकलाब के नारों से, is a line that is attributed to the man more commonly referred to as the father of our constitution, Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar. This phrase, like most of his other writing, continues to be an integral part of India's political provenance. However, the very nature of that title, father, insinuates a singularity which is not the reality of our constitutional history. We often overlook the contributions made by scholars, especially women, without whom the Constitution in itself would have not been created. If I ask you today, how many women do you think helped write the Indian Constitution? I'm almost certain that most of us would require the help of the internet to find out the exact number. 15 women contributed to drafting the Indian Constitution as we know it today, and yet we never hear about the stories of their struggles. Today, on India's 72nd Republic Day, I urge you to listen to the stories of these unsung heroes. Women like Dakshayani Velayudan, the first ever Dalit woman to graduate from the Madras University at the time when caste and gender-based discrimination were hurdles for the subaltern. Women like Begum Azaz Rasul, who overcame the boundaries of communalism in an India that was riddled with religious tensions to become Uttar Pradesh's first minister of social welfare and minorities. Women like Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, who navigated through the unjust claims of nepotism and did phenomenal work in the sector of medicine and health as India's first ever health minister. The purpose of my speech today is not to take away from the accomplishments of the men who helped draft the Constitution, but rather bring attention to the fact that despite instilling the values of equality in the Constitution, perhaps we have not done a very well job, or we have not done very well in following up the premise of our preamble, which calls for justice, liberty, and equality to all citizens. This year, and on this Republic Day, let us aim at adding recognition to that list as well. Let us honor the provisions of the Indian Constitution, the glorious Indian Constitution, that look to liberate those in society who've been historically, systemically oppressed. This document alone has the ability to bring to the forefront a dynamic and diverse illustration of India's future. Happy Republic Day, everybody. Thank you.